Hola, familia, and welcome to episode 4 of Fire and Butterflies. And I am your host, Comadre Cristal. I I love the fact that this episode is happening. It's my favorite. I mean, I haven't even started the episode and I'm already claiming it's my favorite. That's what I love so much about it. So, one, it is March, and as I had mentioned in the previous episode, March is my birthday month. But not just that, there's something very special about March for me, and that is that it is also Women History Month. I myself identify as a cisgendered woman, so Women's History Month means a lot to me. And it started a lot from when I was younger in college, actually, when I was in a sorority in college, Sigma Omega Phi. Oh, my SoFis. But I I really got to see firsthand the importance of surrounding yourself with strong, independent, fierce leaders who are women. And it was just a beautiful experience in college. And as I grew, I also started to realize in my circle of friendships, in my circle of life as an adult, now as a parent, I still keep surrounding myself with women, strong, independent, fierce, passionate women. And that's what this episode is really going to be about. One, it's also a tribute to all of the amazing women that have been in my life, have touched my life in so many different ways, and also to really reflect back on holy shit, how much my life has changed thanks to these women. So, where do I start? Where do I start? Let me start off exactly with a year ago. Today's recording's March 6th, but I want to really go rewind a little bit back and start on February 24th, 2023. Keep in mind, I had already been on a healing journey since before February 24th of 2023. Um, but I remember this date was very in particular because this was the first time I was going to do an energy healing session with someone. Meaning I was going to be the client going to someone who is an energy healer. And I was excited. I was nervous. I had just dived into this new role of a single mom. Um, I had started my divorce. I felt lost. I remember, oh, I'm gonna get emotional. I just remember feeling lost and feeling scared and feeling, and particularly scared. I remember feeling scared that I was going to fail as a mom because I already failed as a wife. That's what I remember thinking to myself. And I was scared that I was going to fail as mom because, and trust me, that will be another episode because motherhood is hard, you guys. It's fucking hard. And then when you're doing it by yourself, it's even fucking harder. And it was really hard for me. Um, Trust me, I will make a whole episode dedicated to my kids because, man, those two are they're my teachers, they're my students, they're my angels. They are everything to me. Anyways, so February 24th, I was going to go to my first energy healing session. I had no idea what to expect. I had no idea what was coming. Thankfully, I already had a relationship with the healer. Her name is Angie. If you are all interested in her services, Guided by Ange is her Instagram handle. And I'll make sure to put that in the notes, in the subtitles or this description. That is the description. Guided by Ange. And I had already been working with Ange prior to this one-on-one. I just hadn't been working with her on one-on-one. I was going to her sound bath events. And for months now at this point, but I never really dove into the one-on-one services that she provided. Her sound baths were fire, and I love sound baths because for me, I just needed more like at that time, I needed to get out of my house. I needed to practice self-care and I needed to find ways to meditate. And her sound baths came into my life. And when she started really doing one on one services, I was all for it. Like, sign me up. She focuses on trauma release, like releasing the trauma in your body. Again, I had no idea what to expect. I was like, okay, girl, be prepared because I have this girl here has a lot of trauma. Um, but here's the most special part about this, and I remember I would got into my car, turned on my music, turned on the GPS because I had no idea where her place was at, her workplace. And I remember on the time, it was 1:11 PM. I noticed what song was on when it was playing at close to an it was already a minute and 11 seconds, and I'm like, "Oh shit, 11:11." And then she was only 11 minutes away from my house, and I was just like, "Holy shit, look at all this ones, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 everywhere." And the song was "I Will Survive." And I remember just crying because I was like, "Yes, God, I am gonna survive." 'Cause I didn't feel like I was gonna survive, you guys. Like, you don't understand, like, there was multiple times where it was, like, scary for me. And I wasn't suicidal. I went through my suicidal phase college years. At this point, I'm already 30 something. So it wasn't that I was suicidal. I don't know if any of you have ever felt so overwhelmed that you really don't know if you're going to survive. That's how I felt. And I remember thinking, I'm going to survive. I will survive. And so I went off to my session with her. Bitch changed my life. Oh god, it was such a beautiful session. Um and it really like I don't even know how to describe it. I honestly don't. Like you have to experience energy healing for yourself. If you haven't, if you have, please put it in the comments, let people know, share your experience. Because more people need to experience this, especially for those who truly are a little bit skeptical on energy work or energy healing. But Ange was great, and she brought up some stuff that I didn't even know needed to be brought up, to be honest with you. And after that session, I remember she was telling me, she was like, "Okay, you're gonna feel like you got beat up." And I'm like, "I got beat up?" She wasn't joking, everyone. I really did feel the next day like I was beat up. Um, and and at that point, I remember just feeling like this shift in me. We worked on my confidence. We worked on me stepping into my power, and I did. I just remembered like weeks after that, I just started feeling more confident, started feeling just like just this boost of energy came out of nowhere. Fast forward to now what I'm talking about March, because now we're in March. March 4th of 2023 was another event I went to that Ange was presenting with another healer in my location of town, Maytté. And Maytté was playing the sound bowls and Ange was going to be doing the energy healing. Now both of them together, holy moly, it was just like both things were just magical. And again, you have to experience sound bath to understand what I'm talking about. And so um then I met Mike Day, and her handle is Mystic Mike. And again, I'll make sure to put it on the description so all of you can follow her too. Um yeah, Mystic Mike. And Maite, I mean, I remember when she walked into the room, she had this aura of wisdom and love and patience. Yeah. it's I don't know, and she's a very tall woman, and I'm very short, so literally talk about looking up to someone, like, I was like, "You are amazing." Um, and and so I got to meet Maytté, and she was wonderful, great, and that evening was the evening where I said, "Fuck it, I'm going back on social media." Oh, because, by the way, by this point, I had deleted all my social media accounts. Well, not deleted, but I had, like, turned them off or yeah, turned them off for the time being because I was overwhelmed with a lot of stuff from social media because when my ex-husband and I split ways, it was a week before our what would have been our anniversary, and I didn't wanna get reminded of this day, kind of pictures and people commenting. So I deleted social media, in October of 2022. And so by October of 2022 to March of 2023, after that session with both those amazing women, I was like, fuck this shit. Why am I hiding? Why am I running away? Why? Like, I need to stand in my power. Like, I'm done hiding. I am done running. I am done. Yes, I'm a divorced woman now. I'm not the first one, and I sure as hell am not going to be the last one. Yes, my marriage failed. That doesn't mean that I'm a failure. That doesn't mean he's a failure. That just means our marriage didn't work out. So I went back on social media. But the beautiful part is I went back to my business page too, um, and reactivated it and was like, watch out, world. Crystal is coming back full blown as a healer too. And 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 I didn't know, like, it's so beautiful because it's been a year, you guys, it's been a year since I reactivated my social media account as Love Your Now Tarot to today filming this on March 6th of 2024 as Love Your Now Comadre, as a spiritual life coach. The growth I've had in between this last year, it's wild. It's unbelievable. It's unreal. But it's happened like a year ago. I was just starting this off. I had this vision, I had this dream. I knew what I wanted to do, and I had no idea how I was going to do it. And these two women really gave me the pivot point to that point, amongst other women too. And that's what this episode is dedicated to. And this month I'm also dedicating to all of the amazing women in my life who have supported me and have pushed me and have guided me. And the ones, because I've also had women who were not my cheerleaders and who were not supporting me and who hurt me, but all of that together has pushed me into who I am today. And I'm so grateful for that. And so yeah, that happened. And since then I've been on this journey of love your now comadre. I've been on this journey of really honing down my own gift as my own healer, as how do I bring this magic that these two amazing women brought into my life, how do I bring this magic to others? How do I bring myself to others? Because I am also a medicine woman. I also bring medicine to people through my words, through the things I say. And it took a lot for me to learn that I could do that. And so it's been a beautiful journey. It's been an amazing journey. And it's been a year. Let me tell you, it's been a year. So from March to March of this year, yeah, I mean, if I talk about every single thing, this episode's gonna be so long. Um, fuck it. We're gonna make it as long as possible. So I, yes, started Love Your Now Tarot at that point. I was doing readings for people. Again, I was doing like the tarot readings, but the more I kept doing readings, the more I realized like I don't wanna do readings, like, I wanna help people, I don't want to be seen as an entertainer, and before all of you, any of you who are readers come at me, I'm not saying any of you are entertainers, But there is this stigma. And I think that many of us as healers, as light workers, we have to fight against because there's this stigma that we're just entertainers or the stigma that we are just, um, and maybe there are some out there that are entertainers and some people who are frauds, 100%. But for the rest of us who are not, it is like a challenge to not be seen as an entertainer. And I was doing readings, a lot of people kept thinking, "Oh, this is for fun, this is entertainment." I'm like, "No," I'm like, "I'm trying to change your life here." And so then I started to work on creating a different kind of tarot reading practice or tarot reading service. And I remember the first time I named it Tarot P. Tarot P. Oh gosh. And I actually liked the name Tarot P. And I was talking to other friends, amazing other amazing women in my life. And then one amazing woman, um, she is a therapist, and simply love her and adore her. And when I told her therapy, with her sweetness, and was like, maybe you shouldn't say therapy because it's not therapy. I'm like, you're right, it's not therapy. And I also don't want to step on people's toes, making it seem like I'm a therapist because I'm not. I never will claim to be a therapist. Um, Therapy has its own magic. Therapy has its own way of healing people. Trust me, I know for a fact because I've been in therapy on and off for the last 17 years of my life. I'm still in therapy to this day. It's all about finding the right therapist, is what I've learned. And so I was like, you're right. I don't want to call it therapy because it just, even though I like the name, it always didn't feel right to me. And so I just kept doing it. I kept trying to figure it out. I remember thinking, how do I want to do this? And at this point, keep in mind, like Love Your Now to Row was a side hustle. Like it was a side gig. It wasn't my main income. It wasn't what I was doing for a living. Like it was just something I was doing as per se, like a hobby, but I really wanted to expand on it. And fast forward to the middle of the year. We are now in May of 2023. And I'm still working one-on-one with Ange. I'm still going to all the events that Maytté is putting because I'm like, I like healing. Like I was like, it's like it was like an addiction of mine. Like, yes, healing. Where's my next dose? And I then came across a page on my Instagram of another person. This person will remain anonymous just because it didn't it yeah. And I don't want to throw shade. And I also it bless them, change me. But I came across this person's page and I started working with this person one on one. And it was great. I got to uncover a lot more of my own gifts. I got to uncover a lot more of my own healing. And the beauty was that I was reminded that I always had the ability to do it. Now it was kind of like the tools were more easier for me to understand. Hope that makes sense. So after working with this person for about 12 weeks. Yeah, after 12 weeks. Um, well, it wasn't even 12 weeks at that point. It was like a few weeks before, but after working with this person, that's when I had like the biggest breakthrough, biggest spiritual awakening, biggest epiphany, whatever you want to call it, midlife crisis, some people have called it. I don't care. Um, I was like, I need to leave my workplace and I need to focus solely on Love Your Now Comadre because by this point I had already rebranded to Love Your Now Comadre. And I was just like, "Okay, let's do it." And so yeah, I gave my career of 10 years. I gave them my notice. I gave them a 6 months notice. I gave them a 6 months notice, but I honestly was also giving myself a 6 months notice. And I then yeah, dove into it. I started really focusing on Love Your Now Comadre, how I was going to promote myself. At that point, I knew that the title I wanted to give myself was not tarot reader, was a spiritual life coach because I was coaching people. I was giving them the coaching tools. I was giving them the tools that they needed to continue on their path of healing. And so yes, I owned that name. I owned as a healer. I owned myself as a life coach. I owned myself as an empowerment coach. I stepped into that. And fast forward, I remember there was a lot of times I was not knowing how to do this. I was like, how do I start? One, how do I start a legitimate business? Two, how do I do this? And a lot of the times I just prayed and s- handed it over to God. And I was like, okay, spirit, show me. Show me the next steps. Show me what I need to do. And talk about being in flow. Within a day or two, something else will come up into my life. Another person will come in. And this is another woman that came into my life and helped me tremendously. And she lives in Texas. So this person wasn't even a local person. This person lives in Texas, and we got connected through TikTok. So it was a beautiful experience. And her name is Waleska, and her Instagram handle is also uh again, I don't want to mess it up, is by Waleska Rosario. And she is she's phenomenal. She's amazing. I don't even have the words to describe how I don't even have the words to describe how blessed I felt and so honored I was to have this amazing person in my life helping me. Because what she did was she sat down with me and I gave her my vision and I was like, "Look, I need to do this. I need to figure this out and I don't know what to do." And because we just started off talking as friends. Like it wasn't like I was working with her, she wasn't working with me. It was just this friendship was developed. And she was like, "Mija, I've taken all the courses out there. I've done all of these things. Look, this is what you should do." And I was like, "Let me write it all down." Um, and she was the one who had suggested that I come up with a course because the one thing that I also was really adamant, and I still am adamant to this day, is affordability. I know my worth. I know that what I provide and I know the services I provide are honestly priceless. However, the people I'm trying to reach, the people I'm trying to help are the ones who desperately need it and the ones who cannot afford other life coaches. I cannot afford other coaches because I was on that side of the spectrum as well. As a single mom, living paycheck to paycheck, paying all of the bills in my home, I didn't have extra grand and 2 grand, 3 grand, 4 grand to just be able to invest in myself. I know the investment in oneself is so important. I know that. But when you have bills, you have responsibilities, you have so many things added and stacked up against you, that investment to yourself, it makes it really hard. I know. I know. I lived there. However, that's the one thing that I was very fortunate about was that all of all of the help I got was affordable for me. All the help I had was a gift from the universe to me. And so I knew that I didn't want to be over excessive in my prices. And Waleska understood this because as I told her, and she was also very adamant, like, Crystal, it's your energy. You got to pay what you're worth. I'm like, I know that, but I want to be affordable for others. So she gave me suggestions and ideas. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to run with this. And I did. And so Waleska was God sent to me. Like I remember praying for her and she came into my life. And so fast forward to me developing my course of unlocking your inner comadre, um, developing my services and how I offer them. All of that fast forward and I am here today. And in between it, I've also had other amazing women in my life help me. Not just women that I met, but also like the women in my life who supported me and have always been there for me. From my mom, my sister, um, my sorority sisters, my coworkers and colleagues that I used to work with at my old workplace. All of them cheering me on and always believing in me even on the days that I didn't believe in myself. Even on the days when people would come after me saying that I was a thief and calling me a fraud, even on the days where I didn't believe I was going to be able to do this, these women always held me and always loved me through all of that. And I'm so blessed and so grateful that they were in my life and that they are in my life. Um, and so my message really, and the one message I really want to share with all of you today, take a moment, look at the women around you, admire them, love on them, because you don't know what they're going through. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Remember, social media always makes and portrays that everyone's life is perfect. It's not fucking perfect. No one's fucking perfect. Instead of hating on each other, instead of being jealous of each other, love on each other a little bit more. Be empathetic. Everyone that comes into our life for a season and for a reason. And if their time with you is done, that's okay. Bless them and you continue to change. That's one of my slogans that I've learned in my recovery program. Bless them, change me. And I hold that true. I hold no anger for anyone. No one. No one. Um I see the lessons that this person had to bring into my life if they hurt me. I see the lessons that they brought into my life if they are now gone. Um, and I bless them. I bless them on their road and I keep going because I have to keep going. I'm not going to get stuck looking and hoping or wishing any negative thoughts on anyone. And so that's really what I've learned in this last year, especially with the amazing people in my life, the amazing women in my life. So this episode, I really do I dedicate it to all those amazing women. I dedicate this episode to the women who are tired, the women who are going and going and want to quit. Don't quit. Keep going. You can do this. I dedicate this episode to all your single moms out there. I know you're tired. I know it's exhausting, but you're still doing it because you are fucking badass. Eres una chingona. You really are. And to all the other moms out there who are not single and have their partners and have their support system, you're also a badass. Like being a mom is hard regardless if you're single or not. So I dedicate this episode to all you amazing women out there. I also dedicate this episode to the amazing women who are not parents, who chose not to be parents, because that takes courage, that takes strength, because there's a lot of criticism of why aren't you a mom yet? Why aren't you doing this? And I know that because I'm not even a biological mom. I have my kids are my foster kids. They're not my biological kids, and I love them like they are. I made the choice to be a foster parent. Not everyone wants to make that choice, and I'm not judging because I get it. That's hard too. Um, I dedicate this episode to all of these amazing women out there. You're doing it. You are the reason why this world is the way it is. We're changing the world one day at a time. And to all of my compadres out there, don't take it personal. This is a you still have a role to play, and I admire that for you, but we live in a society that is mostly male driven, and so I invite you to take a moment and look at the women around you too and love on them. Without her, you wouldn't be where you're at. Trust me. Trust me. And to my comextres who are non-binary, I love you so much. You are living in a world that makes it even harder to just be yourself and just accept yourself for who you are and to love you for who you are. So if you are if you identify as neither a as a woman or as a male, that's okay. And I love that for you because we need more people like that who are courageous. Because that takes honestly, that takes a lot more courage than I will ever know. Um, and I love you so much. So you keep being you, my non-binary folks out there. Ah. God, this was a very emotional episode. I didn't realize how I was gonna just release a lot. I'm also a little sick because of my trip with my kids. I came back and I think I overexerted myself and overdid it, and I end up getting really sick. So bear with me if I don't sound the same. I'll get better. Um, but tears are good. Tears are normal. So if you cried it out with me in this episode, thank you. I'll be sure to leave the description the handles of these three amazing women who helped me in this last year. I am going to be asking them to be on this podcast as follow up. So keep an eye out for those announcements or that just pop up that, hey, today I'm interviewing so and so, because these women deserve their space and these women deserve the recognition. Um, Not just because they've changed my life, but they're changing everyone's lives every day. And I see it because I follow them and I'm friends with them and I talk to them, and it's beautiful to witness such a beautiful, beautiful experience. So give them a like, go give them a follow. Um, I don't know if a lot of their services are virtual, but it doesn't hurt to ask. If you're local in the area of Modesto, California, um, Ange is here. In Merced, California, is where you can find Maytté, and of course, in Texas is where Waleska is. But I believe all her services are virtual, or because she has a virtual store. So, anyways, I love you all so much. Um, and thank you all so much for listening. And thank you so much for being here. Remember, go give that woman in your life, go give her a hug. If you are that woman, give yourself that love, give yourself that hug, and also uplift each other. I we live in a world where we just bring everyone down, and that gets exhausting. So just uplift each other. You don't have to like everyone. You don't have to agree with everyone. Trust me, I don't like everyone and I don't agree with everyone, but I respect them as a human. I respect them as a woman. So I wish that and hope that for you too. All right. Thank you all for listening. I am sending you all so much fire and butterflies. And as always, don't forget, love your now. Bye.